but it's not written in the format, right? When my coefficients are not the same, I got to make sure I set this equal to 1. So the first thing I'll do is divide by 20. And therefore, I have x minus 2 squared over 5 over 20 is going to be 1/4. Plus y plus 3 squared is 4 over 5, which is going to be 1/5 equals 1. Does everybody agree with me how I got to this point? No?
Wait, where did the 5 go?
Where did the 5 go? So what I did is I divided the 20 into here, and I divided the 20 into there. 5/20ths is 1/4.
Okay, yeah.
4/20ths is 1/5. So I just reduced the fractions. All right?
That makes sense.
OK. Now, the next step is we need to identify the center. Previously, we had those zeros, right? Here, you can say that the center is, remember, it's x minus h, x minus k. So therefore, my center is going to be 2 comma negative 3. Right? Just remember, it's always that opposite. We should hopefully be getting very used to this by now. So my center is 2 comma negative 3. Now I need to identify my a squared and my b squared. A squared is always going to be larger than b squared. So we can say that a squared is going to equal 5, where a is going to equal plus or minus the square root of 5. B squared is going to equal 4. So therefore, b is equal to plus or minus 2. Now, since a is under the y, should my major axis be horizontal or vertical? Vertical, right? So let's go ahead and plot that information so I don't forget. So my center is at 2 comma negative 3. All right. My major now, this is what I like to do. You don't have to do this, but here's what I'd recommend to do, because this is where a lot of people get confused and they'll make mistakes, is once I know my major axis is vertical, I draw a vertical line, and I say it's my major axis. What's wrong with that? It's just takes 2 seconds, right? And if my major axis is vertical, that means my minor axis is horizontal. Now, why would that be helpful? Because remember, guys, what lies on your major axis? Your vertices and your foci. What lies on your minor axis? Your co-vertices. And again, how do you find co-vertices and vertices? A, B, and C. So if you know the distance A, all you got to do is from here, just go left and right what your B is. So, or let's do A, my vertices. A is going to be, well, actually, that's going to be a little bit difficult. So let's do by B first. B is going to be plus or minus 2. So that's on my minor axis. So I'm going to go to the right 2. There's one co-vertice. And then to the left 2. There's another co-vertice. Since I've graphed them, can I easily tell what those points are? Yeah, you're basically just taking the center and going plus 2 and minus 2. So your co-vertices is going to be 2 plus or minus 2 comma negative 3. Now, I will say I do not like you writing your answers like this, okay? Because you guys can obviously do the math for this one, right? When it's at 0, plus or minus is fine. But let's write these out. So therefore, let's do 4 comma negative 3 and 0 comma negative 3. Okay? Don't leave me with this. That's laziness, in my opinion. So let's simplify them. The vertices. Vertices were going up and down, right? The vertices were going up and down. Now, again, we don't know what the square root of 5 is, but do we know what the square root of 4 is, which is 2, and the square root of 9 is 3. So would you guys agree that the square root of 5 is somewhere between 2 and 3? And that's good enough for me. So go up 2, not up to 3. So somewhere around there. Here's your vertice. Yes?
Did you say that this graph is horizontal or vertical?
Vertical.
But last class you said, and I told you, you were like, if A is larger than B.
A is always larger than B.
Okay, so that's what you said. If A is larger than B, then the major axis will be horizontal.
No. If A is, so I'm not sure what I said or what it was interpreted, but A is always larger than B. So in A, so you agree with me that, so if you look at your formulas, you have them A squared and B squared are your denominators. So if A squared is under the Y, you have a vertical major axis. If I swap these and I said that's 5 and that's 4, if my A squared is under my X, then I'd have a horizontal major axis. Okay? So just make sure, just whatever I said or whatever you wrote down, Just make sure you're clear for that from now on. So we have a major axis, so we're going up square root of 5. So on this one, we're going up and down from -3 square root of 5. So my vertices are going to be 2 comma -3 plus or minus the square root of 5. Obviously, I don't want you guys giving me decimals with that, so we can leave it in that form. And then last but not least, guys, is to find your foci. Yes?
Why was it 2 plus or minus 2? Like what? Where did you get?
Here's your center. You're going to the right 2, and you're going to the left 2. So you're adding 2 to go to the right, and you're subtracting 2 to go to the left. OK? So your foci, again, is going up and down. But we need to figure out what your foci is, which is c. So again, remember, c squared equals a squared minus b squared. C squared equals 5 minus 4. C equals plus or minus 1. So now my foci is, again, from my -3, I'm going up 1, and I'm going down 1. So my foci is going to still be at 2, but I'm going to have -4 and 2 comma -2. Because you're basically going from your center up 1, which would be at -2, and going down 1, which would be at -4. But the x-coordinate is still the same. And then you guys can plot this, and you guys can see that that kind of looks more like a circle, right? Yes?
Why'd you go up 1 and down 1?
Because, again, the major axis is vertical. The foci and the vertices always lie on the major axis.
Okay, but how did you get the vertices to be?
The distance from the center to your vertices is A. The distance from the center to your co-vertices is B.
Yeah.
The distance, right. So
Where did you get -3 from?
-3 is the center. That's the y-coordinate of the center. So if you're at negative, that's the center. You agree with me? 2, -3. So you're going up and down square root of 5. So it's -3 plus square root of 5, -3 minus square root of 5. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then your foci, distance of foci is c. Anybody have any other questions on this? OK. For time purposes, I am